If you like The Searchers, then you'll like Devil's Doorway from 1950. Robert Taylor plays an indigenous man who comes home after fighting in the Civil War. Even though he won the Medal of Honor, he is still confronted by prejudice from some of the locals. One in particular is a businessman, played by Calhern, who's mad Taylor owns a huge piece of profitable land. When a wagon train passes through town, Calhern uses them to help him snatch the land. That's a pretty progressive plot for a 50s Western, with one glaring blind spot, so let's talk about it. Yes, Robert Taylor is in red face. He isn't supposed to be half white, half indigenous. He's supposed to be 100% indigenous. But I will say, he plays the part with conviction that it's almost refreshing. Usually you see actors from this time play up stereotypes, but Taylor never does that, and even film critics back in the day like Bosley Crawford noticed it and applauded the film's writing. And honestly, that's one of the best aspects of the film, the script. The way the film constructs the conflict between the hero and the villain is brilliant. Calhern doesn't just use racism to get people on his side, he plays on their insecurities and desires, then frames it in a way where they think Taylor is a greedy man, and he should have his land stripped from him. Taylor too grows a prejudice after returning home, feeling that he should be given some respect after fighting for his country. The gritty realism of the conflict makes it very engaging to watch. The film is shot almost entirely outdoors and looks amazing. Although there's a part of me that wishes it was in color so we could see the vibrant landscape, I actually think the film is better because it's in black and white. For one reason, there aren't too many black and white westerns that were shot entirely outdoors. This gives the film a unique look that makes it beautiful in its own right. The second is that the lack of color makes the story bleaker. The harsh aspects of the film hit harder and enhance the drama. And the night scenes are incredible too. It almost feels like a Western noir, which isn't a surprise once you see the cinematographer for this film was Alton, the king of shooting noirs. It's nice to see his style at work in other genres. Speaking of behind the scenes, the film was directed by one of my favorite directors, Mann. I covered his films The Naked Spur and The Tall Target in previous years. One's a Western and one's a noir. Funny. It makes sense because there's some pretty suspenseful sequences in this film. They actually had my heart pounding at one point. The action scenes are pretty riveting too. Although this was considered more of a B-Western, you'd never know because of how well they utilize their budget and how creatively everything is shot. When I was reading reviews for this film, everyone praised every aspect I praised, but there's one part that I thought people didn't talk about enough, and that's Calhern. My god, this is a despicable performance. I mean, he's played villains many times before, but never like this. He's so calm and calculating. It makes you infuriated when things go his way. No matter how many times Taylor one-ups Calhern, you just know Calhern has something up his sleeve. I honestly think this is Calhern's best role, simply because I can't think of any other time I walked away from a film and thought, you know who was great? Calhern. So, if you like The Searchers, you'll like The Devil's Doorway for its beautiful cinematography, powerful script, and its stark characters on all sides of the conflict.